Hello everyone! Big news from Crimea. Ukraine has struck Russia's key lifeline, sending smoke and flames across the peninsula. Today we'll break down the strike, its impact on Russia's supply lines, and what this means for the ongoing conflict. Stay tuned, because you don't want to miss these shocking updates. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. After the last major developments in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, tensions in Crimea have escalated dramatically. Today we focus on a critical strike that has put Russia's lifeline in flames. Ukrainian forces targeted key supply infrastructure, including oil terminals and transport hubs, creating massive smoke plumes visible for miles. This isn't just a local disruption. It impacts fuel and logistics supporting Russian operations across the occupied peninsula. Analysts suggest that these strikes are part of a larger strategy to cut off critical resources and weaken military positions. Russia's response has included deploying emergency teams and reinforcing security, but the full scale of damage is still being assessed. Satellite imagery confirms the fires and damage to supply routes, while social media footage shows massive smoke and chaos in the region. Civilians and military personnel alike have been affected, highlighting the human and strategic impact of the strike. In today's video, we'll break down exactly what happened, the consequences for Russia's operations, and what this could mean for the ongoing war. We'll also explore potential follow-up strikes and how Ukraine might leverage these attacks in the coming months. Stay tuned as we unpack every detail of this critical event. The Ukrainian strike targeted multiple key locations in Crimea, including oil depots, fuel storage facilities, and strategic supply hubs that Russia relies on to maintain operations in the peninsula. According to verified reports, the attack caused massive fires, sending plumes of smoke high into the sky and creating a significant disruption in supply chains. Footage from social media and satellite imagery confirms extensive damage to infrastructure, with roads and terminals affected. Analysts note that these strikes were executed with precision, likely involving drones and special forces units, demonstrating Ukraine's growing tactical capabilities. The damage not only affects fuel transportation, but also has broader implications for military logistics, communications, and the movement of troops across Crimea. Emergency teams deployed by Russia have struggled to contain the fires, highlighting the severity of the attack. Civilians in nearby areas have reported disruptions in electricity, transport, and essential services. The strike underscores a shift in Ukraine's strategy, moving from direct battlefield engagements to targeting critical infrastructure that supports Russian operations. By attacking supply lines, Ukraine aims to weaken Russian positions over time while minimizing direct confrontation. The international community has closely watched these developments, with many experts considering the strike a significant escalation that could influence the broader conflict in the region. Crimea has been a critical strategic location since its annexation by Russia in 2014, serving as a hub for military operations, naval power, and logistics. The peninsula hosts key ports, air bases, and energy supply facilities essential for Russia's operations in southern Ukraine. Controlling Crimea allows Russia to maintain access to the Black Sea and project power in the region. The recent Ukrainian strike directly targets the strategic advantage by disrupting essential supply lines and creating logistical challenges for Russian forces. Analysts emphasize that weakening Russia's ability to operate from Crimea can have long-term implications for the conflict, limiting troop movements, reducing fuel availability, and affecting morale. Moreover, targeting supply infrastructure demonstrates Ukraine's ability to conduct precision operations, signaling a shift toward high-impact, strategic strikes rather than traditional ground battles. The fires and damage caused by the attack not only have immediate operational consequences, but also send a message of resistance and resilience. By striking at the heart of Russian logistical operations in Crimea, Ukraine challenges the perception of the peninsula as a secure stronghold. This move has captured international attention, raising questions about Russia's ability to maintain control over the region and protect its critical assets. The Ukrainian strike has immediate implications for Russian military operations in Crimea and surrounding regions. Disrupted supply lines mean fuel, ammunition, and essential resources may not reach troops on time, creating vulnerabilities. Analysts suggest that this could affect Russian readiness and limit operational capabilities in southern Ukraine. Russia relies heavily on infrastructure in Crimea to support its ongoing campaigns, and damage to key depots or transport routes directly undermines its logistical chain. Emergency response efforts, including firefighting and security deployments, divert resources away from frontline operations. Additionally, the strike may force Russia to reroute supplies, potentially increasing transit times and creating further bottlenecks. Military experts note that attacks on infrastructure have a multiplying effect by hitting critical nodes. One strike can disrupt multiple units and operations simultaneously. The psychological impact on troops cannot be overlooked either. Knowing that supply lines are vulnerable may lower morale and cause uncertainty among units stationed in Crimea. Strategically, Ukraine's ability to execute such strikes demonstrates both capability and intent, signaling to Russian leadership that their positions are not invulnerable. This escalation may lead to increased tension and further countermeasures, but it also highlights Ukraine's focus on precision, strategic targeting, and leveraging high-value operations to achieve maximum impact without large-scale confrontations. Beyond military implications, the strike has significantly affected civilians in Crimea and nearby regions. Reports indicate that smoke and fire disrupted daily life, causing evacuations, road closures, and interruptions in electricity and fuel supply. Social media posts from residents describe scenes of chaos, with emergency services struggling to contain fires and maintain public safety. Local authorities have urged people to stay indoors and avoid the areas surrounding damaged infrastructure. The psychological impact on civilians is substantial, as these attacks reinforce the vulnerability of the region despite Russian control. International media has widely covered these developments, emphasizing the humanitarian dimension of such strikes. Analysts warn that infrastructure attacks, while militarily strategic, can heighten tension and stress among the population. At the same time, these strikes send a message about Ukraine's reach and tactical capabilities, showing that no location, even in occupied territories, is entirely secure. Civilian reactions also reflect a mixture of fear, uncertainty, and curiosity about the ongoing conflict. Aid organizations are closely monitoring the situation, assessing whether additional support may be needed for affected communities. Overall, the strike demonstrates how military operations intersect with civilian life, highlighting the complex realities of modern warfare, where infrastructure is both a strategic target and a public necessity. The Ukrainian strike on Crimea has drawn attention from governments, international organizations, and experts around the world. Analysts in Europe, the United States, and other regions have closely examined the implications for regional security, logistics, and the broader Russia-Ukraine conflict. Statements from military analysts suggest that Ukraine's ability to hit key supply nodes demonstrates growing precision in operations, potentially influencing international support and perceptions of the conflict. Some countries view this as a legitimate act of strategic warfare, targeting military infrastructure rather than civilian areas, while others express concern about escalation and the risk of further retaliation. International media coverage has emphasized the dramatic visuals of fire and smoke, raising global awareness of the ongoing conflict and the strategic importance of Crimea. Experts note that such strikes can shift the narrative of the war, demonstrating Ukraine's proactive capabilities and challenging assumptions about Russian control. Additionally, this event may affect diplomatic discussions, arms support decisions, and strategic planning among NATO and partner nations. By analyzing the international response, we can better understand how local operations in Crimea reverberate on a global scale, influencing alliances, military assessments, and future strategies in the conflict. From a tactical standpoint, the strike represents a highly coordinated operation with multiple objectives. Analysts suggest that Ukraine likely employed drones, long-range artillery, and intelligence-driven targeting to ensure maximum impact. The choice of targets, oil depots, fuel terminals, and supply hubs, indicates careful planning to disrupt Russian logistics efficiently. Such strikes reduce the need for direct confrontations, while creating disproportionate effects on the enemy's operational capabilities. Military experts emphasize that precision strikes require reliable intelligence, effective timing, and coordination between units. The Ukrainian forces' ability to hit multiple targets simultaneously demonstrates increasing sophistication in both planning and execution. Additionally, the strike illustrates a strategic shift from defensive operations to proactive measures aimed at weakening Russian positions in Crimea. By targeting supply infrastructure rather than frontline troops, Ukraine maximizes disruption while minimizing casualties on its side. The use of drones and technology-driven strikes also underscores the modern nature of the conflict, where high-tech operations can have significant tactical advantages. Observers note that this level of precision may influence future engagements, forcing Russia to adjust defense strategies and allocate more resources to infrastructure protection. In response to the strike, Russian authorities have indicated plans to reinforce security around critical infrastructure in Crimea. Emergency teams are deployed to contain fires, repair damage, and prevent further disruptions. Analysts suggest that Russia may increase military presence, deploy additional air defense systems, and enhance monitoring of potential Ukrainian operations. The strike also highlights vulnerabilities in supply chains, which may prompt Russia to reassess logistics, fortify facilities, and consider alternative routes for fuel and ammunition transport. Historically, Russia has responded to attacks with a combination of military measures and public messaging to reassure both troops and civilians. The recent Ukrainian strikes could lead to increased countermeasures, including intensified surveillance, retaliation, or additional strikes in contested areas. Experts note that while Russia has the capacity to restore infrastructure over time, repeated attacks could strain resources, reduce operational efficiency, and impact morale. The balance between public perception and operational readiness is delicate, as Moscow aims to maintain authority in occupied regions while mitigating the strategic consequences of Ukraine's high-impact operations. Ultimately, how Russia responds may influence the next phase of the conflict and set the stage for further tactical engagements. The long-term implications of Ukraine's strike on Crimea extend beyond immediate damage. Strategically, disrupting supply lines and key infrastructure undermines Russia's ability to sustain prolonged military operations in the region. Analysts warn that repeated strikes could force Russia to reallocate resources, adjust troop deployments, and reconsider the security of its occupied territories. Economically, damage to fuel depots and logistical networks can increase costs, slow transport, and affect local markets. Politically, successful strikes enhance Ukraine's credibility on the international stage, demonstrating both resilience and capability. From a military perspective, infrastructure attacks may signal a shift in conflict dynamics, wherein direct operations target critical nodes rather than engaging in large-scale battles. This approach allows Ukraine to maximize strategic effect while minimizing risks. The psychological impact is significant as well, challenging Russia's perception of Crimea as secure and demonstrating Ukraine's reach. Analysts suggest that continued precision strikes could influence negotiations, alter battlefield priorities, and shape the overall trajectory of the war. Understanding these long-term consequences is essential to interpreting the broader significance of the strike and anticipating potential developments in the region. In conclusion, the Ukrainian strike on Russia's lifeline in Crimea represents a major strategic development with far-reaching consequences. Fires and infrastructure damage disrupt supply lines, challenge military operations, and create uncertainty in the region. Civilians feel the impact, while international observers analyze the tactical and geopolitical significance. This operation demonstrates Ukraine's growing precision capabilities and strategic approach to undermining Russian positions. The response from Russia, both operationally and politically, will likely shape the next phase of the conflict. For viewers, it highlights the importance of staying informed about developments in Crimea and the broader Russia-Ukraine conflict. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss updates on breaking developments in global conflicts. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll continue to analyze key events, military strategies, and consequences in Ukraine and beyond. Your engagement helps us bring timely and accurate coverage directly to you.